Chaim Baruch. Oh, Reb Zalman. We're bringing tonight is in honor of Reb Zalman's birthday.
Thank you.
And Chaim Reb Zalman. Shnas Hatzlacha v'Gashmi Shem Yochad.
Thank you. We have homemade sourdough bread. Everyone should eat raw. Sourdough, real deal.
Chaim
Immer bei Beis.
Huh?
Chametz immer bei Beis.
Chametz in
Jetzt steht Pesach Sheni.
chametz.
So even the Sephardim we don't usually say from Hamot, you have to also wash. You're saying the sourdough. Okay.
You baker?
The Farbrengen was also sponsored Luli Nishmas, Reb Berel's father and grandfather, Reb Berel ben Yitzchak ben Berel, and by Mrs. Chaya Sarah Kasherim, in honor of the Lulav Rabbi Meir. And according to many opinions, today is the anniversary of the passing of Rabbi Meir Balanes. So, what is Pesach Sheni? And what does that have to do with us? The simple story of Pesach Sheni is, and also another sponsor, Vivachshit. What is the sponsorship in honor of? Honor of Pesach Sheni? Okay, thank you very much. All right. So what is this? What is this holiday? What is it about? Why do we celebrate it? We had Pesach a month ago, and we're celebrating Pesach again. What does it mean? There was a Jew who just passed away. His name is, they called him Charlie Buttons. Charlie Buttons was one of the icons, the fixtures always in the Rebbe's court in 770. Leave here. And he was known for wearing this hat with lots of buttons, and he was a little bit of a interesting character, to say the least. Charlie used to say that if Pesach Sheni falls out on the 1st of March, then the whole March is a month of Pesach Sheni. The whole March. Because since the Torah says that Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the month, connects to the whole month, so Charlie said, well, the 1st of March, let's do the whole March. So if Pesach Sheni, you're allowed to have beer, ain't allowed to have matzah. So you're allowed to have matzah and beer. You should have matzah and beer the whole month. That was his thing. He used to walk around the streets of Crown Heights the whole March with matzah and beer. But that's just a humorous thing. The reality is this. The reality is Pesach Sheni is a big thing. What is it? Let's go to the simple meaning of the story, and then let's understand how it applies to us. It was the very second time that we celebrated Pesach, and many Jews were unable to celebrate because they were impure. They were unable to celebrate the holiday Pesach because they were impure, and they came to Moshe Rabbeinu a month after the first Pesach, and they said to him, "Why is it that we are unable to celebrate Pesach like everybody else? Why should we lose out?" And Moshe Rabbeinu turned to Hashem and he said to Hashem, there are these people and they're asking, what's going on? What should we do? They say we missed this mitzvah. They want another opportunity to do this mitzvah. What can we do? What's the answer? So Hashem gave Moshe Rabbeinu for the first time a new mitzvah that was initiated because they asked for it. Every other mitzvah till this point was given by Hashem. Every mitzvah since that point was given by Hashem. This was the only time that as a result of the Jewish people asking for a mitzvah, they got another mitzvah. And Hashem said that whoever missed celebrating Pesach the first time, Hashem will give them another chance. They can celebrate a Pesach a month later today, on the 14th of the year. The sacrifice should be offered, and the night of the 15th of the year, they will eat the sacrifice. That's why, by the way, some people have accustomed to eat matzah today, some people have accustomed to eat matzah tonight, some people have accustomed to eat matzah last night, some people keep on eating matzah. But the divine energy of today is connected to Chesed Shebahod. What does it mean of Chesed Shebahod? Hod means submission. Hod means to put yourself on the side. Hod means you don't understand, you don't feel, you're empty, your mind is not telling you to go in the right direction, your heart's not telling you to go in the right direction, but you submit yourself and you say, I'm going to go in the right direction even though I don't understand, even though I don't feel. That's what hod means. But chesed shebahod means something else. Chesed shebahod means that although you're in a place of darkness, you know that it's heading to a good direction. You know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're now in a place of hod, but chesed shebahod means you could sense, you could feel that you're going somewhere. That's not darkness for the sake of darkness, but you're going to go somewhere. In the previous Rebbe's Siddur, there's actually a mistake. The mistake was that in his Siddur it said, instead of saying, for Pesach Sheni, instead of saying chesed shebahod, it said in his Siddur instead, hod shebachesed. The previous Rebbe's Siddur was printed wrong. Instead of saying chesed shebahod for Pesach Sheni, it said hod shebachesed. The men are talking a little too much. I want to ask the men to be quiet because the women want to hear. Please, men, bivachshit. Thank you. Thank you. So now the women can hear. Okay, great. So, my grandfather used to always say, there are still two people talking. And you always were thinking, it's me. I'm the guy. So the previous Rebbe's Siddur had a mistake. And the mistake was that instead of saying chesed shebahod, it said hod shebachesed. Hod shebachesed and chesed shebahod are not the same thing. Hod shebachesed is part of the holiday of Pesach. In the middle of Chol Hamoed Pesach, we have hod shebachesed. Pesach Sheni is chesed shebahod. The reason the previous Rebbe's Siddur had a mistake, the Rebbe said, was because there was a divine accusation against the Jewish people. And the divine accusation was that we don't deserve to have the chesed of hod. And the previous Rebbe, by correcting in his Siddur that should be the right way, hod shebachesed, chesed shebahod, and fixing it, he was able to take away this decree, he was able to take away this accusation. Well, let's think about this very practically, very personally. Being in a state of hod, can anyone remember being in a state of hod? Being in a state of like you know what direction to go, but you don't know why, you don't know how, you need to push one foot in front of the other and you're still going to go this way? That's hod. But chesed shebahod means that you have at least a clarity that you're going somewhere. Can you hear the difference between them? I know when I was in, we're approaching the summertime right now. When I was a camper in 1986, it was funny, I got a phone call from my counselor yesterday, almost 40 years ago. He was my counselor. When I was a camper, I was having a very hard time. Because I was this nerdy kid from Worcester, Massachusetts, and all the city boys, they all were friends with each other, and I wasn't. And I was the odd kid out, and it was very difficult for me. I had a very hard summer. And I did something foolish that a little kid does, that I'm still embarrassed. I can't even tell you now what I did. I'm so embarrassed. And the whole camp found out about it. And every kid in the camp walked around the camp saying, that's the kid who did it. That's how embarrassing it was. And my counselor, not the one who called me yesterday, the other counselor, he said to me, he called me over once to give me a very a senior speech, as my mentor, as my counselor. He says, you know what, Levin, you're weird. Levin, you should know you're weird. I can't say that I was traumatized by the experience. I can't say that really hurt me. But it sounds a lot worse than it was. But it happened. It happened. You're weird. It definitely wasn't encouraging. Definitely wasn't encouraging. And the truth is that it wasn't the first time I had this kind of experience in camp where they got put down by a staff member, by my bunk also, like whatever. I was this nerdy kid. But later on, I went to another camp, and the first night of a camp, the head counselors always feel that to put down all the kids so that they'll pay attention, they'll listen to the rules. So the first night of a camp, the head counselor's like, everyone, when I put up my one finger, to raise your hand. So I don't want to be, I wanted to be cool already. I learned from last year's experience of being the nerd, I wanted to be the cool kid. So instead of putting up my hand, I went like this. Like I'm cool. I'm not going all the way. Like this. So the head counselor screams, Mr. Levine! I know how he knew my name. Mr. Levine, get out of the shul! I didn't say it's Levin, not Levine, whatever, respect. Either way, I walked out of the shul, I was mortified. I got sent out of the shul. I never got sent out of a shul before. And I was really upset. But on the other hand, when I became a counselor, I looked at the kids differently because of my experience. I was more sensitive to the weirdos. Every year, when my kids I was one of those kids. You know, my kids, Baruch Hashem, they're big. You see my kids in the shoulder, big, strong kids. Those are the kids I was terrified of when I was in camp. In Worcester, we didn't play baseball, we played softball. All of a sudden, these balls are flying at 70 miles an hour and make Nolan Ryan look like he's a softball player. These guys throw the ball. Scary. But on the other hand, what I want to say is that because of my experience, I was able to be sensitive to the nerdy kids. I was able to be open-hearted to them and feel them. Not just then as a counselor, but it stayed with me. The sensitivity to the kid who's not just a kid, to the adult who's not fitting in. And this is, I think, a Pesach Sheni idea. That you see something that happened in your life, which wasn't at the time something you really liked, something that really was upsetting. But Chesed B'Hoid means you're able to see how this thing that was upsetting, you saw Hashem was guiding you somewhere. That in my life, I think Hashem wanted me to learn to pay attention to people. Not, LA is a big city. When I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts, it's a small town. In Worcester, we celebrated and a Jew came to shul. It was so exciting. A nerdy guy. Who cares? A guy came to shul. It's so exciting. Yankel and Shmerel and Bell, they're all in shul. In LA, it's not the same kind of energy. People don't have the same kinds of sensitivity. People are very expendable. People are firing and hiring. People change their cars and they change lahavdil. I don't want to say what they change. And they change it very quickly, and they're not feeling the same. They don't feel the same about people. And I think the reason I had to go through this experience is Chesed B'Hoid, so that I should be able to feel the guy who's on underdog, feel what the other person in their scenario where they are. That's Chesed B'Hoid. So in a similar way, let's speak not just about major life-changing events. Let's think about smaller things. A person's in a scenario where he makes a big mistake, and he sees that he's a mistake, and he hasn't, and he feels like, I'm doomed because of the mistake. Pesach Sheni, that when it says when the previous Rabbi said Pesach Sheni is the day that teaches us you always have another chance. It doesn't just mean you can correct a mistake. It means you have the realization, you sense that the whole point of why you had a mistake in the first place because Hashem wants to bring you somewhere. There's a line we say in davening. God lets man know his strength and the glory and the splendor of his kingdom. The simple meaning of this verse is God tells us his greatness. There's a deeper meaning. Sometimes God lets you know your own strength. It's not a fun thing to happen, but it happens. And why does Hashem sometimes test you and revealing in you your strength? It's because of Chvei Da'adar Malchusei. It's because Hashem wants to reveal His goodness, His light in the world. So you go through something, but Pesach Sheni tells you that whether it's something that Hashem sent your way, or whether it's something that you made by your own mistake, and it was your intentional, and it was something that you regret, and you know it was wrong, you should know you never leave the GPS system. The GPS system means God's positioning system. You're being led by Hashem's hand, and you're always being led towards Geula, towards Chesed, towards redemption, towards Mashiach. This is the road we're on. So Pesach Sheni is not just that you could always do the right thing. Pesach Sheni is that you realize that the downfall itself is part of your growth. It's part of where you need to get to. Let's take Reb Chaim. Chaim Reb Reb Chaim. Say L'chaim. I know L'chaim. Give you L'chaim. Give you L'chaim. Chaim Reb. Hine matoi v'manoim sheves achim gam yochad. Hine matoi v'manoim ay sheves achim gam yochad. Haradama ma Tirina mama mama yina na na mama 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 yina na na Tirina mama mama yina na na Tirina mama mama yina na na mama yo yina oh mama Mama, original plan was to make Ma'ariv, now we'll continue to bring it. That was originally. Oh, you know. Oh. Okay, when I'm daven Ma'ariv, after Ma'ariv, we'll continue to bring it. Daven Ma'ariv now, after Ma'ariv, we'll continue to bring it.